90% of consumers read online reviews before visiting a business. What do people see when they look you up online? We give you the tools you need to take control of your reputation. Send surveys to your customers via text message with Testimonial Collector. Get 5-star reviews on all the major platforms like Google, Yelp, and more. Track what people are saying about your business with Reputation Manager. Respond to comments and turn negative reviews into happy customers. See what your competitors' customers are saying about them with Competition Tracker. Learn great marketing tactics and what it takes to stay on top. A bigger social presence means more connections. Automatically generate and schedule engaging social media posts with Social 365. Build trust, boost sales, and grow your business.
Hey, and hello everybody, and welcome back to the Entrepreneur Life Show. And I am your host, Rose, the founder of McDonald Bookkeeping Services, and we are here with another day in the life of an entrepreneur where we bring really great influential guests that are going to help you in your day-to-day lives, whether it be in your business or personal. You can connect with them all. So let's get started first by saying thank you to everybody who always listens, follows us on your very favorite podcast channel, whatever platform that on or app you're listening to. I recognize you. I see you all the time. I love your questions, and I always try to bring the guests on the show that sometimes you guys want to hear and you want to see. So thank you again to everybody who is always listening on their favorite podcast channel, or maybe you're watching on YouTube right now. And if you are, make sure that you comment in the super chat. Tell me where you are commenting from, or maybe you are on Facebook Live and you're watching there. You can always check us out on our website, entrepreneurlifeshow.com. Check out all the past guests, all the upcoming guest interviews, and you will always be able to find them, chat with them, and connect with them. I want to, of course, thank my sponsor. He's always been great, Marketing Out the Box. There he is right there. And you can always connect with him on the website. That's Sean Maddox at Marketing Out the Box. Go to the website, entrepreneurlifeshow.com, subscribe, check him out, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And so who do we have today? So I'm always excited about our guests, because I think the guests that I bring on the show, it's because those are the ones I want, because I really like them. So anyways, I search for them, and I search for types of guests that I know that are going to be influential, people are going to love, that I'm going to love. So if they're on the show, it's because I think they're pretty amazing. That means I know you are too. So today's guest is Courtney Starks. And what I like about him is, one, of course, he's a media influencer, but you know what? Some people don't know what media influencer means, because some people just think influencer, because maybe it's a little bit different than an influencer. Minister, he has interviewed some very influential people, has some great topics that and I watched his YouTube channel, so I really like what he has to say, and the people he doesn't sugarcoat anything, so which I really, really love. He has artists, entertainers, writers, musicians, plus he has so much going on for himself that I know you are going to love to listen to and connect with. So I am going to bring him on now, and that is Courtney Starks, and welcome him to the show, Entrepreneur Life Show. Hello there.
Thank you. Oh my God, that was great. I was back here like, oh my God, I don't sugarcoat anything. You're so right.
How are you? Thank you for being a guest on the show. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well. I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing super wonderful. And I know you're on the East Coast, right?
East Coast.
So, I was very entertained by your channel. I like that you say what you say and you mean what you say. It is what it is. So, so I mean, and so if I can start out just by asking, if you'll tell my listeners, just share a little bit about you, so then we can get into kind of like they'll understand why you do what you do, who you are, who Courtney is.
So my name is Courtney Starks. I am the CEO and founder of a media company LLC called Courtneys Corner. We are a brand and company that focuses on impacting lives and also telling the stories of the voices that are unheard. We draw into speaking about social issues that we are facing not only as a culture, but as millennials and people around the world that we're facing in the silence of our homes or in the silence of our communities. And just not only talking about these issues and talking about these topics, but planting seeds, finding solutions, and then doing the groundwork to not only help us cross, but for the future generations to be able to not have to deal with these things when they're able and eligible to get on this side of life,
So why this? Especially now, it's a very tumultuous time. Can be a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And controversial, because anything people say nowadays is considered controversial, especially for Black, especially if you're gay or lesbian, and religion. So people don't even want to talk about politics, religion, or race, or money.
Right.
And those are some tough topics.
They are tough. They are very, very tough. But one thing about me, I've always been outspoken. I've always been the tell it like you mean it kid. Like, people always say, oh, Wendy was that person. No, I'm that person. I think, right after her was me. But I've always been very, I don't want to call it controversial, but I'm not going to agree with you because you said it, right? That's never been my thing. So I'm going to pour out the facts of what's happening. I'm going to tell you my opinion about those said facts. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, man, this is a letter you can write to somebody who cares. It is not going to be me,
So what about the ministry part? I mean, how did you get into this particular genre? Because I would think that some people would think about, okay, let me say it's like Megan Good.
Yes.
People question because she's married to someone in the ministry. She's very involved in the church, and people just assume because you're Christian or you're Catholic that you can't talk about certain things. Right. You have to stay in a certain box. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think that's the problem, right? Like, no matter what you do, people always want to put you in a category that fits their reality. And in truth, we have our own reality. We have our own purpose and what we're called to do. So I have been in ministry. I have been in music ministry and youth ministry my entire life. I grew up there. My grandmother was old school. We had to go to church every Sunday. There was no laying in the house. There was no resting. No. Jesus in the church. Jesus did this. You're going to church. So she made us, and I ended up finding God for myself and learning and forming that relationship with him. But in that, I have always been outspoken. So when I went to a church where it was like all white and I just kind of felt like I was out of place and out of rhythm, I would tell them, like, I'm not feeling this. Like, this is, you know what I mean? I've always been to speak up. Even when I found a home that I knew was for me, when I felt things were not going right across the board, whether it be through the youth ministry or through our senior citizens or just giving back to our community, if I felt it was off, I always put my mind. How Courtney's Corner happened was this, I graduated high school, and I'm pretty sure you know this, as much as I know this. You get to that age where you're kind of like forced out to reality. And I'm just like, that's just not okay. That's not okay. Like, we're not ready. So you're throwing us out into the world blinded, and you're expecting us to succeed by knowing nothing, right? We don't know anything. We're not grown. We think we're grown, but we're literally kids at that age. And I realized that in that point in my life, I had no turn to. I had nowhere to go, but I had this, and I could use my voice, right? And people were actually listening to me, right? And I would talk about these things and tell people how I felt about just the world and society and kind of where I was at and kind of feeling lost in all of these topics. And people were responding to it. I didn't even name. I'll tell everybody this to this day. I didn't even name what my company is now. I remember taking a break. I was home. I was resting, and somebody said to me, "I never forget this." I was in my DM, and he's like, "When is Courtney's Corner coming back on?" I'm like, "Courtney's Corner? What is that?" I'm like, "Your show." And it was like a boom moment. Like, okay, that's the name. That's what it's going to be called. And this is back in 2010, before my kidney transplant, before my kidney failure. And I've been rocking this way ever since.
So, just the topic of the ministry part. So before we get into the rest.
Yes.
And because you said, growing up and then you got to get a reality check.
Yes.
Do you think that, and I'm just talking about the community that I know, the Black community, that, I don't know how people label it, African American, sometimes I'm not sure what to say.
Yes.
But that we are too dependent on the church, that we don't always, and I'm not going to say everybody out there, but, just in general, don't prepare our children and ourselves, because we're so stuck on believing God is all things and everything, and everything's going to happen, and that's it, that we're disconnected somehow sometimes.
Yes, because I first of all, I feel like people think, some people, not everybody, like you said, think of God as this genie, right? God is going to make this happen. God is going to give me my house. God is going to give me this job. God is going to make my marriage work. And it's just like, sometimes you have to show up for yourself. You have to meet God halfway with the things you want in your life. I talk about manifestation. I do this on Clubhouse, and I always tell people, you can't manifest the things in your life to be real until you show up for you. He knows what you want. He knows your desires, but how bad do you want it? Are we all going to sit down and just pray about it? Or are we going to be the seekers of the things that we want in our lives? Because if we don't seek it, then we're not going to get it, period,
So that being said, then how did that lead you to help with the youth and the programs that you've established for the youth? Because I know that you connect well with the youth community.
Yeah. I realized that there wasn't programs for us when I was growing up. They had, and I don't want to say they weren't programs. They weren't programs for us. And I'm going to keep it as honest as I possibly can. They weren't programs for us. And I felt out of place. And I just felt like, why am I the only Black kid in this program? Why am I the only Black kid who's singing in the choir? Why am I the only Black kid doing this? So I realized that kids, and especially us, when I was young, if you don't see a representation of yourself, you're not going to go.
Right.
Period. You're not going to feel comfortable. You're not going to go. So I had to be the one to step in the gap and say, if I can do it, let me get people. And all I did was invite people to come, invite people to be a part of something. And when they realized that they saw themselves in me or in the people who I was bringing, it was comforting for them. And till this day, they still look up to me as a mentor, but I'm just a guy who just was doing the job that God assigned me. I was young, but I was just doing what I was assigned. And I was going outside of this building and being the church, right? Speaking about the gospel, spreading the love of Jesus to these people in a way that they understand. Like, we think about, when people hear about God, sometimes they feel so reserved. Like, I can't say this. I can't say that. I can't do this. God loves me in my imperfections. He knows that I'm not perfect. He knows that it's a little ratchet in me. I'm a little ratchet. I can't say that part. But he loves me in spite of. So if you can be you and be genuine and be authentic in yourself, you're welcome. Let's go and have a good time in Christ,
So, the LGBT community, the Black community, and the church.
Yes.
And I think they're slowly getting to that somewhat acceptance. And so, how difficult was that for? Because I know you actually you have that relationship with the LGBT community as well as do I.
Yes. I always, and I think, and this is even with race, right, and kind of like in everything, like, people forget that people are human first.
Mhm.
You're human first. But we are so conformed and conditioned to giving people a title just because, right? Everybody has to be subjected to a title instead of being human.
Yeah.
And it's so disgusting. So for me, I just love all people because you're a human. I love you because I can connect with you. I can talk with you. I can sing with you. I can laugh with you. If I can't, I can't. Whether you're gay, straight, but bisexual, transgender, you're a person. And I feel like once we get our own way in our own heads and then start realizing that people are people first, then everything else can kind of transcend normally. Like stop categorizing people to make
Yeah.
yourself feel comfortable about your own flaws. You know, and
Yeah.
even in the church, I realize this now more than ever. Your insecurities about somebody else's sexuality is because of your own insecurity within yourself.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm gonna say about that.
I'm glad you said about like categorizing in labels because
Yeah.
people if they are of a different. I'm trying to be as sensitive without being offensive.
Yeah.
And you play on the other team, or because of your lifestyle, you don't even want to say that you are involved in religion because, or at least me,
Yeah.
because you're not sure a person's reaction. And I've never cared for the label when people say, "Oh, are you a lesbian or bisexual?" Like, why can't I just be a person who happened to be attracted and fell in love with a person because I truly connected with them? And people have asked me this question, before, and usually they inquire. And the thing is, when they say, "Oh, you're gay or lesbian," I go, "No, my name is Rose." And but when people, if you're truly looking for your companion, your true companion, I'm not going to turn away from one because of their race, color, size, height, weight. If I connect with them, then that meant to me they were sent to me that way.
Right.
So I don't like the labels either. I have this problem with the labels, like who made that up? Who said that's so let's talk. I know you've done a lot you do a lot for the community, and I want to talk about the people you've interviewed, like how your show came about. Because I love that. I love Sherry Shepherd. Let me tell you, I follow her. I've been watching her on her little weight journey diet, and she's coming out with her new show. So I just want to know, like, how did you make that all happen? And I mean, that was a great interview you had with her.
Thank you so much. So, one-on-one with Courtney started last year during COVID. If you watch the YouTube in the earlier times, I had a studio. I had my own studio. We started Courtney's Corner when I relaunched after the kidney transplant. It was literally a nasty gray sheetrock thing. I just wanted to start, right? I just needed to get back, and I was willing to start at the bottom. I literally rented a dusty old room from Peerspace. I had some friends who invested in bringing me cameras and lighting and that sheet that you guys see in season 1 of the studio. And then somebody gave me an opportunity to have my own studio. For season 3 of Courtney's Corner, we were literally in the process of being signed to a network and getting our 6-week sneak peek type of deal going on. And I was so excited. I was literally getting ready to announce it. And I got a call. Like, unfortunately, we have to drop this because COVID is kind of, it's taking over. I mean, in that moment, I was like, God, like, what did I do wrong, right? I'm blaming God. I'm blaming me. And I remember in that moment, God being like, how dare you, right? How dare you blame me for any of this when you see where I've taken you and where I brought you? Just trust me. And I remember looking at my sign, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do now, right? I got all these people depending on me, all these things in my head that I got to release, and I have nowhere to do it. And I remember looking in the corner of my house, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You can do this as simple as possible and make it beautiful, right? And I put my sign up. I brought a chair. I invested in a little light thingy over here, picture some lighting, and I created it again. Like it was as if I rebranded it from the beginning. How I got Sherry Shepherd on the show. We were talking on her Instagram live. Her and I were having a conversation, literally like this. I don't even know how she tagged my name to be a part of it. We're laughing, we're joking. She's talking about Jeffrey and all of these things, and I mentioned my show, and she's like, "Inbox me. I would love to be on your show." So of course, because of who I am, as soon as I left, I inboxed her. Like, okay, this, catching up, following up on what we spoke about. We set a date, and it's been like that forever. It was as if I needed that, but I needed to remind myself of just how great and dope I am and the simplicity of what I do. The lights and cameras and all that good stuff is perfect. It's great, but there is nothing wrong with sitting here in my chair with a light in my face and just doing what I love to do.
So I know that because you brought up the pandemic, that actually led you to be able to transition, and you started doing different types of drives and things. So it was kind of an advantage to you, wasn't it? Kind of like it. I mean, it was a disadvantage because, of course, the pandemic is a pandemic. But in a sense, it was also it was an advantage where I think it changed a lot of people and seemed to work for you.
Yes, I realized that, especially for me, I had COVID. I experienced COVID in March. And in that moment, I realized, and seeing all the people just die, like they're here today and literally gone the next day, I realized that you have to give people their flowers now. Like, let's stop waiting when people are gone to want to pay your respects or give them their flowers or pour into their lives. They're gone. Give it to them now while they can feel it, they can see it, they can smell it. And I realized that as much as powerful as I am with my voice behind this camera, wouldn't I be even a little bit more effective going into the communities and showing that I'm here with you. I'm not above you. We're going through the same things. So we did our first food and clothing drive, and what started out as a thing, I'm like, okay, we're not gonna get anybody. Like, I didn't, we promoted it, but I'm like, who's gonna come? It's whatever. In 10 minutes. I swear to you, 10 minutes, we were out. 350 bags of food gone. I don't even remember people getting the bags. That's how crazy it was. It was just like that. And then we did our toy drive for the kids because I felt like they were the ones who were really affected the most. Like, the remote learning sucks. You know what I mean? That lack of social skills and communication is being lost. And that they were suffering. So it gave me the opportunity to bring them together so they can converse and commune and just get that feeling back of this being together with their friends. And that was such a success, just to give back to our young people, give back to families who really needed it,
So I know that you had some of the messages of yourself. Is that really what kind of helped you to inspire you for that part of it?
Yes.
So that journey, I want to hear about that.
So with my kidney journey, I lost my kidney in 2008. And for 9.5 years, I struggled. Because I didn't know. I was, like I told you earlier, I was young. I didn't know what kidney failure was. I didn't know what kidney transplantation was. I wasn't aware. I had never seen a dialysis center or knew anybody with kidney failure until I had to go through this myself. And for a year, I went through this major depression. And I went through it, right? I had to find my way. And not only did that make me stronger, but it also made me sympathetic to other people's issues and health issues and wanting to inspire them to take care of their bodies the first time, right? Stop waiting until a doctor had to tell you what to do. So I went through that. I got my kidney in 2017, and that catapulted a new life for me, right? I realized that, once again, you get this one life, and I'm taking it for granted. Like, God has given this to me, and I'm like, but God, I don't want it this way. You know what I mean? I want it my way. And he's like, boy, if you don't stop, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And even in the midst of my kidney journey, I remember I always tell the story, I had it. It was coming my way in 2014. And I was living I was living. I was doing everything to known the man that I shouldn't have been doing, but I was doing it because I'm young, I'm dumb, I'm immature. And I remember them calling for the kidney, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's do this. I'm posting on social media. I'm doing videos. I'm doing everything. I get to the table. I'm on the table. The guy has the needle in my arm to put the propofol in. A second before he can put the stuff in, the doctor runs in and goes, nope, he can't have it. And I remember sitting there like, this can't be real. This cannot be real right now. Like, I've been on this thing forever. Like, what's going on? Come to find out, I weakened my heart muscles because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. And then God had to humble me. Like, you keep saying you want to live this life and you want to live it in abundance, but you're not doing any of the things that you are supposed to be doing. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I had to get into alignment. And once I came out on the other side, all I've been wanting to do was to give back and to pour into people and to allow other voices to be heard, because I know I'm not the only one going through this. You know, I'm not. So, yeah.
So how did you get to the financial literacy part, though?
I realized, so I was making a lot of dumb financial decisions in my life. And that was because, once again, you don't learn this in school. I wasn't learning this in school. So for me, as long as it was in my pocket or in my account and I could spend it, that was it. Right? I didn't know about saving. I didn't know about credit. I didn't know about any of this. But I had to learn in order to run a business. Right? In order to run a business or to take care of myself, I had to learn about being in debt and what that can do to you, credit repair, and just how much an important and powerful having credit is. You know what I mean? Making a savings account and leaving legacies and having that extra rainy day money, which I didn't have, and living check to check is not cool. You know what I mean? So once I learned about the importance of that, I've never looked back. Never looked back.
So let's talk about then your LLC then. So, so are you then helping to educate the youth? Because I know you do stuff for the women empowerment.
Yes.
And the youth when it comes to, aside from ministry, is that all kind of intertwined in the ministry with, of course, just some kind of the health and wellness part, along with the education of the entrepreneurship, or not even just entrepreneurship, but really mastering your daily living of being able to budget and being able to, I guess, taking care of yourself, the ownership of yourself.
Yeah, but with the LLC, you could do a lot, right? You could have an S corp, a C corp, a nonprofit, all these different things. But I felt like an LLC encompassed everything, right? I was able to make Courtney's Corner its own entity, its own business, separate from myself, right? So I always tell people, Courtney's Corner it was a baby, and now it's grown legs, it's talking back, it's all these things that it doesn't need to be doing right now. But I needed that, and it also benefited me with my taxes and, kind of keeping that separate. And, and I have a bunch of things that I do underneath like you were saying. So the youth, I started a nonprofit organization called Hype, helping young people elevate. I did that. You know what I mean? I fund a podcast. I fund the studio YouTube show. And then I do the one-on-one Courtney Starks. I also got to pay a team of people. You know what I mean? And I can't just do it by myself. I needed to have that ground, so that way I keep things structured. So that's why I did it. I did an LLC.
Well, then let's talk about, if you don't mind, I want to share this.
Go ahead.
So I know that you do also the speaking engagements and how that kind of came about, and how you can, I'm assuming that people can call upon you, maybe even schools and churches. So how did that get started? Tell, like some of the places you've gone that you've been able to speak at.
Yes. So this is so crazy that I've seen this picture. I haven't seen this in a long time. But this wasn't my first one. This wasn't my first speaking engagement. This was literally an event that I threw called, it was a youth summit called Bridging the Gap. One of the things I love to do, I inspire people to do, is to look back, to look ahead, but to also look back at our seniors to gain the wisdom. And a lot of time we throw out elderly people away because we feel like we don't need them. When in fact, they are the ones who laid the groundwork for us to be here right now in this moment. So this event that I spoke at, I was literally telling our young people about the respect and the purpose that our elderly people can pour into us. You know what I mean? And what we need to do as young people to pour back, to give back, and to shine a light on all that they're doing and why you are able to do what you do because of them. So yes, I started that, but my first speaking engagement was at a church. I was scared. I was 14. I was 14 talking about the love of God. I didn't even know what the love of God was at the time. I was a child. But once I went through my kidney journey, I realized that I had to use my voice. So around that time, I literally just got my kidney transplant. Literally. And that was my first one out of my kidney surgery. So I've now done at BAM. I spoke at BAM for a graduation. I partnered with Life Beyond Bars. They're an LLC company. I spoke to some of the prison reform. I spoke for that, trying to get young men who come out of jail just, other alternatives besides going back to the street. I've done that. And now women, I feel like I speak to the ladies a lot more because we just connect a lot better. I just don't know why. Like they feel my heart. Like guys they have this wall for no reason. Like they doesn't want to hear nothing. But women are more susceptible to wanting to hear your story because they themselves can relate and understand. So I do a lot in kind of like just speaking to a plethora of people so that way we can all win together.
Yeah, I agree. So is there anything that you would kind of want to share or maybe educate for, aspiring influencers and creators? They're really trying to struggle to kind of maybe try to get kind of where you've gotten, anything that you would up and coming young one, because you see a lot of these creators right now and what they call media influencers. I mean, for myself, I know influencers, but they're not all good influencers. Yes. And some just want the fame, and it's not. It's just entertainment, not always the best of entertainment, as we can see what goes on in social media right now.
Right. If I could tell young people who think they want to do this or maybe are really aspiring to do this, is to number one, find your why. Right? Find your why in doing what you want to do. Because if you can't tell me 3 reasons why you're doing this, then maybe this is not the road you want to take. 2, do your homework, do your due diligence. For me, I went to school for journalism. I was in the educational field. I swear to you, I was in education. I thought I was going to be a teacher. I thought I was going to be a school guidance counselor. And I went all the way up until my, I forgot the name of that last test. And I quit. I said, I'm not doing this. This is not what I'm supposed to do. I feel like my purpose is bigger than this. Courtney's Corner have been weighing heavily on my heart. Like God was saying to me, you're not doing anything else until you do Courtney's Corner. Nothing else is going to come to pass. Like that's how I kind of felt. And once I jumped in, and I jumped in that water, I didn't care how deep it was, but I did my homework. Before I came back with Courtney's Corner, I went to school for journalism and communications and learned about these things and learned what I wanted to do and learned to see my craft. I studied a lot of the shows that inspired me. Like Montel was my favorite growing up. You couldn't tell me that Montel and I weren't cousins. I love Montel. You know what I mean? I loved him. I loved the stories that he had on his show. I love his continuous inspiration and inspiring young men. I loved Steve Harvey. I loved Arsenio. I love these people. So I did my homework. And then kind of giving yourself the opportunity to start small. Like a lot of influencers now want to start. So you want the lights, camera, actions today. It takes hard work. It takes money. You have to invest in yourself and in your gift and in your passion. And you got to invest in people who are going to help you get to reach where you want to go. Like you can't do this all for free. I don't care what no one says. This is not a free ride at all, you know?
What about the transparency? Because you see now, it's just, let me tell you, I mean, I follow, I don't know if I call them influencers. I just people that not only entertain me, but I need to get something from it, because entertainment only lasts for so long. It's like, you know, like a hit single.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then it's gone. And as soon as the beat's gone and the dance is gone, then it's on to the next thing. And so it's, you know, it's like you have your, you know, you'll never forget the Temptations. You'll never forget Whitney Houston. You can be 90 and you still know who they are versus some people today. So I look at influencers the same way. So I don't really call them influencers, because they're just like, it's for the moment.
Right.
So that being said, about what do you think about a lot of these influencers? And like, there's so many people who literally don't know the difference between what influence means. That's why it's called influencer.
Right.
And so, and how easy it is, because people that are young, they'll do anything just to get a whole bunch of likes and follows, and how damaging it can end up being down the line. Is there some advice to say, you know, the direction that they should lead, who they should watch, who they should follow, the right way to do it? Transparency, I think, is important.
Right. I would say, to do this, don't do this because you like it or do it because you think you can. Do it because you love it, right? And I say do it because you love it, because sometimes that love will hurt. It hurts. You know what I mean? You may have one person who watches your show one day. One. Would you still do it? Would you still do it if only one person watched your show? I remember when I first started Courtney's Corner, I had 5 followers. 5. And I kept saying to myself, God, am I doing the right thing? And I never stopped, because I believed in myself enough before the followers came, before the likes, before the hearts, before the shares. So when I say finding your why and finding your passion, it has to be bigger than social media, right? Yeah. Like you were saying, these influences that we've had in our lives, they were around before social media, and they built influence by just being transparent in who they were, in spite of what anybody else had to say, feel, like, share, whatever. They believed in their gift, they believed in their craft, they believed in their purpose. How much are you willing to believe in yourself and give of yourself to keep going, even after people are like, he's old and washed up. I don't think she's funny anymore. Are you willing to continually tap into your gift and your craft and what you're created to do, even when it doesn't seem lovely to everybody else?
Wow, that says a lot. That's pretty powerful. So, you know, for upcoming things that you have upcoming, and I know in helping with the homeless, and I mean, you seem to do a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything that you have upcoming where you're going to be doing for where people can, if they want to assist, if they want to join? I mean, you seem to have a lot going on, dude.
Let me tell you something. This is the first time I've ever done this in the 3 years that I relaunched Courtney's Corner. I'm taking a break. I'm doing a month break. I just feel like, in order for you to recharge and continually give people great content, you have to recharge. You know, and it was hard for me to want to recharge, because I'm like, people are gonna miss me, right? People are gonna move on, and I'm like, until I realized the value you bring to people will never get lost if you are bringing the proper influence, if you are bringing proper content, if people can hear what you said, even after you're not doing it live anymore, and can say, dang, that made sense, and I'm going to use that moving forward. And even if you touch one person, right, out of the 5,000 that may watch, you touch one, you're doing your job. So I'm taking a break for April. I'll bring this next week. I'm taking a break for April, and I'm coming back in May for season 3 of the show.
Yeah.
So that's already packed and loaded and ready to go. I have a book coming out called My Kidney Failed Me, But God Did It, coming out in September. So we're going to get ready for that. And then we are going to do our Bridging the Gap Part 2, where we are giving back to once again, the elderly, and just pouring into them. Right now, we are giving back to our women. So tomorrow marks the end of our Lunch on Me trivia contest geared towards our queens. We've been giving it back. We've been giving back all month. We've been doing a lunch. I've been paying for 2 ladies a week to give lunch to them, but also highlighting women who are doing amazing in their businesses, who are pouring out into their community and giving back in such a way where it's selfless. So we've been doing that all March. So it ends tomorrow. So yeah.
I'm just saying, women out there that didn't know, and maybe you do something like this next March.
Yes.
How do we get involved in something like that?
So yes, if you would like to be involved in anything Courtney's Corner related, please follow us at Courtney Starks Official on Instagram or our website, www.courtneyscornerllc.com. I promise, I reply back. I'm not that guy who waits months and months later. You will hear from me. But I am always here. I love to give back to people. I love to connect with other creatives and just make this place just better for the next person,
I'm sorry, but I just had to bring up your website. Sorry. Hello. I love that, by the way. Love that.
Thank
okay.
you.
So we'll be looking forward to coming up with the upcoming for the third season, because I was waiting to get some more shows coming, because I do like to follow people that I say bring value to me.
Yes.
And so I did like some of the stuff that you were doing, and I see it on your podcast. So what type of, when it comes to podcasts, what kind of advice would you give to your one-on-one with Courtney, people wanting to start a pod? I like this, by the way. I just, I was wanting to go this because I love whoever did your logo, the cartoon. I just like it.
Thank you so much. So the one-on-one with Courtney is an IG show. The podcast, the Uncensored podcast, for people who want to start, I always say, know who your target audience is, right? Know who your target audience is, so that way you know what topics you want to say or have, who you want to have on your show, what your goals are for your podcast, and what you are trying to bring to your podcast that people may not find on another podcast. Some of these are just some of the celebrity ones, but if you go to my Instagram page at Courtney Talk Official, you'll see every single episode of one-on-one with Courtney Talks that I've done from the beginning to my first guest to my last guest on there, including the celebrities.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so we're gonna bring that one up. So that's for your podcast. So you have one on your Instagram, as well as then you have, but everybody can find everywhere you are at Courtney's Corner LLC, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And so, I love that picture too, by the way. Okay, so when are you going to actually be out doing more engagements? And if people wanted to maybe, engage with you, aside from maybe they wanted to maybe there's some mentoring.
Yes.
Is that something that you do?
Yes. So if you guys would love me to mentor you, you want to book me for a consultation, you want to speak to me because you're going through something right now and you feel like no one is hearing you. I do 30-minute consultations. I do them for free. I don't charge for them. I do 30-minute consultations. They are free. All you have to do is contact me on here. There's a box over there right at the right hand side at the bottom. All you have to do is contact me. Let me know what's going on, and I would love to assist you any way I can. If you would love to book me for your next event, you want me to sing at your next event, you want me to come and speak at the next event, I am down. If you would love to.
Did you say sing, or did I hear that wrong? Did you say sing, or did I hear that right?
Well, I do sing. I do have a music ministry, so I do sing. I haven't sung in a while, so please don't ask me to do that right now. But I do sing. I do have a band. So if you would love that to be a part of something you want me to do, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am one of those people who will reply back with dates and give you times of what's available for me.
Wow. I'm sorry. I didn't find that part when researching you that you sang.
No, because I haven't put it on here. Or I had to redo my whole page again. So I wanted this to be Courtney's Corner stuff. But outside of my business, I do music. I do sing a lot. So yes. I have a single called Must Be Divine. You can find that on all streaming platforms. That was a song that I made right before I got my kidney transplant. I literally, the song came out the last day in February. I got my kidney transplant on the 4th of March. So it was like one of those things where it was divine. And I didn't make the song for the kidney transplant. It was if the kidney transplant happened because I made this song. It was my ode to God and thankfulness to God.
Is your book basically, is it your biography or?
So the book talks about my journey. So it talks about I go from when I was young and my relationship with my mom and my dad, and my mom dying, and all of these things that I went through my journey to where I am at right now. The kidney failure, my life during that process, living with my grandmother, living with an old school grandmother, venturing out on my own, kind of getting lost in this journey of trying to go through media, and where I am right now and where God has placed me in this moment of my life, to inspire others to not give up on their dreams, to inspire others to not allow their sicknesses to get the best of them, and to allow people the opportunity to be their own individualized self, their own genuine self, not what somebody else is telling them they should be.
Well, I love everything you have to say. You're very, what's the word? Passionate.
Thank you.
I can hear that in the way that you talk, and get that feeling of that. And I definitely wish you great success, and hope that my listeners are really enjoying this as well, and that they'll want to connect. But I enjoyed it tremendously. I appreciate your being on the show and taking the time out. I know that you kind of had to rush.
Yes.
And here, I was going to wait. But I will definitely continue to still follow you. And for everybody who has been listening, I hope you have enjoyed the content. And of course, if you want to get a hold of, just follow Courtney, because he has his 3rd season coming out, plus so many other things that he has going on that none of us want to miss. Make sure that you go to the page, entrepreneurlifeshow.com. In case you missed how to locate him, he will tell you again. The video will always be there. The interview will be there, as well as on the YouTube channel. And then you can also get a hold of him. So before you go, if you could please just one more time, if you don't mind, tell them how they can get a hold of you, for those who are listening and maybe not watching on their favorite channel somewhere.
So you can contact me directly at Courtney Starks Official on Instagram. You can contact my team at the Courtneys Corner brand on Instagram, or you can speak with all of us at www.courtneyscornerllc.com.
And thanks again, everybody, for another day in the life of an entrepreneur, and listening or watching the Entrepreneur Life Show or Entrepreneur Life Show, and you check out our calendar for the future upcoming guests. And so you can check us out, maybe get a hold of them and our past guests, which are amazing. And we will see you all again till the next show next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.